So, I got coronavirus.
God damn!
Well, we're taking different vibes here.
I mean, I just figured I'd come out the gate straight, you know? Like, no questions about it. Well, how did CrimeCon go? Well, I mean, first and foremost in my life, I got coronavirus.
You don't think people would have been like, I wonder why Erin's on a mountaintop?
Like,
why Stacey got coronavirus?
Why aren't they recording together? Oh,
Yeah.
that's right, because Stacey got fucking coronavirus in CrimeCon 2022.
Yeah.
Las Vegas,
2022,
brother.
baby.
So if I hugged you or high-fived you or gave you a friendship bracelet or, like, was in your life at all, fucking watch yourself. Because I'm like a goddamn chinchilla just running around spreading fucking germs everywhere, making fucking dust parties.
I didn't get it somehow.
Yeah, that's either because you already had it or I caught it after CrimeCon, which I find damn near impossible because I found out on Wednesday.
Yeah, I feel like you wouldn't have tested positive if you caught it after CrimeCon.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
when you say I already had it, you mean like I got those sweet, sweet antibodies from the before time. Not like I already had it going into CrimeCon and I'm patient zero.
Yes, precisely. Yes, thank you for clarifying. I feel like you're going to have to do that a lot this episode because my brain is COVID mush.
Yeah, listen, it doesn't go away. You just keep that
It's
forever.
okay. It's okay. I don't need it anyway. Fucking brains are for losers, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I always
This is
say.
your brain on COVID.
Oh, it's on COVID for sure. And every day I'm like, you know, it's really not that bad. I just have a little bit of a cough and I'm just kind of tired. And then I'm like, I'm just going to go take a shower real quick. And I almost fucking die. And I'm like, wow, you just can't do anything on COVID. You just can't do anything.
You're like, oh, I used to be able to stand up. No problems.
Yeah, now I can't do that. Oh, you just want to eat something? Damn, a burger sounds bomb. And then 3 bites in, I'm like, I don't want this fucking burger. I don't want it.
You're
at
like
all.
out of breath eating it.
Out of breath eating it, and then all of a sudden, even though it tastes delicious, I just feel queasy, and I'm like, I feel hot. I need water? I don't know. My body's just trying to quit on me.
Yeah, you probably do need water. A lot of it. Hey,
got
nice
it.
tumbler.
Hey, Amanda Panda gave it to me.
Yeah, she did. She's so nice. Hey, we got to meet
We
her.
saw. I know! Oh my god, that was so fun. Guys, CrimeCon was so fucking fun. Like,
And
insane.
we survived. I mean, hopefully
We
you still
survived.
did, but
Well, I know my survival is still out for
Pending.
debate. But, yeah, pending.
we met people who actually knew us. That was surprising.
That's what I was going to say. We had the coolest fucking booth by far.
100%.
We might be a little biased.
No, ours was definitely better than everyone else's.
We came like with 1,000% energy and we sold our soul to the devils, just giving away every ounce of any kind of love, affection, energy we could muster up. I did not realize how exhausting that was going to be. Like,
Dude.
so tired.
I've never been so socially drained. Like, ever.
Me either. And
was
I was
hard.
so excited. It was so hard. I was
Yeah.
so excited whenever anybody would come up. And then the moment they would leave, I'd look at Erin and be like, I'm so tired. Like, what just happened? There's no space in my brain to like retain anything.
Yeah.
It would be gone in an instant. And then like we'll start reminiscing about stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh my God, I forgot.
Like, oh, I do remember that guy.
Yeah.
I've seen podcasts now where I'm like, that looks familiar. And then I go and click on it and I'm like, oh, that was that guy.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. How cool. You guys, we met so many awesome people, awesome listeners, awesome podcasters. We made so many best friends. And if you guys showed up and if you were there, we appreciate you more than you will ever fucking know. I have never felt so much love in my life. Like,
Absolutely.
honestly, I was blown away. You people, we always say we're the goddamn fam and everything, but you really are. And everybody is so kind. It meant the world to me to meet everybody that we did. I was just
Seriously.
like fucking blown away.
Which is why you wanted to hug everyone.
Which is why I did hug everybody, and now you guys might have COVID, and I'm really sorry. And that was so dumb of me. Like, you kept saying the whole trip, like, we're going to have post-nut clarity, and as soon as we got to the airport, I was like, mask up, sanitize everything. What have I done? What have I done?
I got that post-nut clarity. Everybody close the browsers. Let's get out of the airport.
Oh, my God. And, of course, I fucking got it. I'm the only one in the whole group that got it, though.
Yeah, I shared a drink with you in the airport, like on the way home.
That's what I don't
gotten
get.
Everything, put it in my mouth.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think it was that pizza tip.
It had to be that pizza tip. Had to be.
I told you not to eat it.
Erin got me a slice of pizza, and she brought it back, and the tip was hanging off the plate, and she said, don't eat that tip. Some weird shit touched it. And I said, this tip? And then I popped it in my mouth because I'm dumb, and I was drunk, and I'm the gross one.
You yelled right before it, I'm the gross one.
Just had to prove a point.
Well, would you like to hear my goddamn?
Obviously.
It's not CrimeCon.
Ooh, I kind of know what it is. I know the basis, but I don't know everything.
You know the base. Yeah. So my kids were out on my balcony, and they were playing out there, and they're loud, so they were talking and whatever. And their little friend lives, like, down the hill, so if he hears them playing on the balcony, then he'll come up the hill and, like, come to play with the kids, right?
Yeah.
I knew this kid was coming. So I had put on, like, basketball shorts instead of pants because I was like, I don't want pants anymore.
Yeah.
I did keep my bra on because I was like, I don't know this kid like that. Like, this, and I have to be a parent, right?
Yeah.
So I was mostly dressed like a normal person, barefoot.
You had a shirt on, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Also that. Just fucking naked. And basketball shorts. No, basketball shorts, no shoes, and like a big top with a bra. That's important.
Yeah. Yes, it is, because I know the base of the story.
Yes. And I knew the kid was coming up the hill, so I told my kid to let the dogs outside because, like, they can't be inside. If we're outside, they'll eat everything, right?
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you go down, like, this main fucking flight of stairs, and then the dog room is to the right, and the garage is to the center to walk out there into the, like, fucking driveway where he's going to play with his friends and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, I had left the garage door open because the husband was going to be home soon. So I was like, whatever, garage door can stay open. Kids were down at the bottom of the flight of stairs. Dogs were down at the bottom of the flight of stairs. I was like mid-flight of stairs because my kid's going to let the dogs out.
Yeah.
And then the fucking neighbor kid just opens the door to my house.
No. He didn't knock?
Like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, no, he didn't do fucking shit. He was just like,
he was just gonna come in?
Kids are in here. My dogs have never met this kid.
Oh, no.
They don't know him. Oh yeah.
Shit. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So they go fucking ape shit, and my kids are down at the bottom of the stairs. The other kid is down there. I'm at the fucking, like, middle of the stairs because I don't expect a stranger to come into the goddamn house.
Yeah.
And so I'm, like, fucking bolting over my children to get to the dogs before they, I don't know, maul this kid.
Yeah.
And they're fucking losing their minds. They're going bananas, like aggro barks. And then they realize that the garage door is open.
Oh,
So
God.
then they were like, bye, Mom. Fucking
Later.
out of here.
Oh,
And they just
shit.
both took off. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Like, first of all, you need to defend this castle first and foremost.
Yeah, right? Like, I'm being murdered, possibly, and you guys just take off? Like, open door policy. So I was like, God damn it. I cussed a lot. Like, this kid's like 7, so I'm sure he's heard it all, but at the same time, like, bro, I'm not going to censor myself right now. I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah, don't just open the goddamn door to my house, bro.
You can't just do that.
Yeah.
So I fucking throw my kids, like, back up the stairs a little bit, like, get out of here. And then I take off out the garage after the dogs. And I was like, hey, kid, you gotta go. Like, plans have fucking changed. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. It was an accident. And I was like, it doesn't fucking matter. It happened.
Yeah.
So I'm running, chasing my dogs up the fucking hill. They're like 4 houses away by now.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I get to them.
Hank
and I
is a fucking
Carl.
galloper, too. Like, you could get
God.
Carl. He's slower.
That's exactly what happened. So I get to them and I grab Carl because, I mean, number one, he's like the more aggressive one out of the two of them. Like, Hank's not going to get in a fight. Yeah. But Carl
will fuck somebody up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I grab Carl and I have him by the scruff. I don't have shoes on. I don't have like anything. I don't have a leash. My fucking dogs don't wear collars because I'm an irresponsible pet owner.
Hey, mine don't either.
Yeah. You don't expect him to just sprint out the door.
Uh-huh.
So I grab Carl by the scruff and I like drag him back down the hill. And my kid and the neighbor kid are both like behind me on the street. And I was like, go the fuck
Get
home.
the fuck inside. Like, what is going on right now?
Exactly. And so
it's like your
I'm
world just exploded. Like, everything that was inside your house immediately went outside and they scattered.
Everything. Everything was gone. Everything was wrong. And so I yell at my kid, like, get the fuck back inside. Go back inside. I didn't tell you to come out here. Why are you in the street right now? He's bawling because he's like, we've lost our dogs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
this is all your
not
fault.
good emergencies. And then to the other kid, I was like, hey, man, you got to go home. Like, we're done
Not
here.
now.
He said, my dad said I could play here.
I don't give a fuck what your dad said.
That was fucking before you let my dogs out of my house.
Also, does this dad know you?
No, we've never met.
And he's just cool with it. Like, okay, yeah, go over there.
Yeah. Usually the kid comes up the hill and then we do like a, hey, I see you down there. Like he'll wait on his balcony until he gets like the okay or nod from either me or Brandon or whatever. But I didn't give him that. I fucking yelled a lot of obscenities as I ran up my driveway. So maybe he saw that. I don't know. And then the kid was like, oh, my dad said I could play here. And I was like, you can't fucking anymore, right?
Yeah.
So I made him go home. And then I made my kid go back inside. And now I have to go back like and find Hank, right? So I tell my son, like, you're the man of the house now. Watch your sister. I have to go. And I get a leash and I get my keys because my dog's fucking fast as hell and he's gone. And he saw me grab Carl and was like, bye, I'm out of here. And then ran even farther. So I knew he was going to be like, gone.
Yeah, like you have to drive to get him.
Yeah, he's a fucking runner. Yeah. He's a track star.
Yeah.
So I'm driving around and I'm like, Hank. Which is like, wait, why do you have the most awkward dog names, right? Just yelling for
Has anybody said Hank?
Father. And I see him like at the top of the trailhead to go up to the like fucking into the canyons onto the top of the hill. Like a legitimate hike.
Yeah.
And I don't have
where
shoes
you cannot
on.
take your vehicle. Yeah.
And I can't take my vehicle. Yeah. So I park my Jeep right there, like at the fucking trailhead, which you're not supposed to do either. And I bust out of my car and I'm like, Hank, get back here. And he fucking takes off because now he's like, I know where we're going. The top of the hill. When I fucking tell you, I would kill this dog. He took off and then he wasn't even on the trail anymore. He's like between fucking trails. It's rattlesnake season. I'm barefoot.
No.
There's fucking tumbleweeds.
He's gone.
It's a nightmare. And he's gone. I can't see him. He's fucking gone. And I'm like, Hank. And then there's, it backs up to houses and stuff. And so there's dogs.
Where the fuck is Brandon this whole time, by the way?
He was gone. He wasn't home yet. He actually went to work that day.
Oh, son of a bitch.
So this is all fucking solo.
Yeah.
Oh, I finally get Hank. He fucking bounds out from like a bush or something. And he's like, oh, Mom. And I have to be like, haha, come here. So that he actually comes to me instead of like, I'm going to beat the shit out of you right now. Like, why did you do this?
Yeah.
And then I get him back. I got him on a leash, whatever. And then this lady is like watching me from her fucking balcony. And I'm like, just getting my steps in. Or whatever you fucking say as a crazy person.
Just get my steps in. Yeah, no big deal. I do this every day.
No big deal. In my fucking basketball shorts and no shoes on.
Oh my God. They're used to it.
Yeah. So then I finally get Hank into the fucking car. I get him down into the house or whatever. I get inside. Both my kids bawling. Because they're like, we've lost the dogs. Even though Carl was already inside.
And then they're like, Mom's gone. Like, what happened?
Exactly. And I told my son, like, fucking watch your sister while I'm gone. Bye. Never told him that before. So then my daughter was like, Mom's gone. Mom's probably dead. She's never coming back. This is my father now.
He's an asshole to me.
Yeah. And then I get back inside with Hank, and my kid's like, did you get Hank? And I'm like,
Aw.
Exhibit A, motherfucker. Like, I can't do this right now.
Yeah. Look at my fucking hands that are holding a dog.
Yeah. I get everybody back inside and everybody situated. Brandon comes home like 2 seconds later. Like, I'm still chugging water. Hank is like laid out on the kitchen floor because he's fucking tired now.
He's like, got a great run in, Mom. That was great back there. Good job. Good work.
Literally. And then Brandon comes home, whatever, and then there's motion at the front door. And
is it that kid?
He came back. And this time he's going to use the fucking front door like a normal human.
Is he going to ring the doorbell?
I told him no. I was like, kids can't come out today. Shit has changed. My mood has changed. Situations have changed. I just went for a fucking hike.
I'm not
doing this.
Was he all sad?
So I made him go home. Yeah, he was. My son was really sad too, and he's like, why did he have to leave? And I'm like, because he fucking let our dogs out.
Yeah.
Which, in hindsight, I'm like, maybe don't blame the 7-year-old. Like,
I mean, shit, man, he shouldn't be opening doors if he doesn't know what's in there. Like, if he's never been invited inside or, like, aware,
that's the other thing. He's not allowed in our house. Like, his parents tell him not to come in our house, so don't open our door. He's allergic to cats. We have 2. So
you're gonna
don't
die.
come in my house because you'll fucking die. Number 3, I have these giant ass dogs. They bark aggressively at him every time he walks up the hill. He sees them. They didn't bark at him today or that day when he walked up the hill because they were inside the house of the door you're gonna fucking open.
Yeah, very bad idea. Very bad idea. Well, I mean, like, you taught him a really good life lesson.
I mean, hopefully he takes it into consideration and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna knock.
Next time, I will not enter through the garage into a home that I've never been inside of before.
Or just wait, like, we're coming out. Just wait. Wait on the driveway. You guys saw each other from the fucking balcony, and you're like, hey, kid, come over.
Which way does he come up? Does he come up the streetway, or does he climb up the fucking canyon?
He climbs up the canyon.
Holy shit.
So he walks by the aggressive dogs every time he comes up, and they weren't outside. Fucking Exhibit A.
Is his dad not worried he's going to get bitten by fucking rattlesnakes?
I would be worried.
I would be too.
Dad's not.
My kid started to walk over to that corner for like a second, I think, to pee or something. And I was like, be careful of rattlesnakes! Like, that is a rattlesnake
I tell
heaven.
my kid all the time to be super careful of rattlesnakes and all that. And then every time this kid leaves, Brandon just like closes the garage door like, bye. I'm like, did you watch to make sure he got home? And he's like, he's not my responsibility anymore. I said that. I'm like, fuck. All right.
I wish I were a dad, man. Sounds so much easier.
Seriously.
So much easier.
Although in that moment I was a mom and I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. It's like that TikTok when you're like, and then I had to pull out the big guns and I was like, hey! And everybody jumped.
Yeah, everybody jumped. Everyone was a little startled. Yeah. I felt bad after because he's like, it was an accident. And I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah. I wouldn't either. Don't feel bad. He shouldn't open the fucking door. Little shit.
Yeah, a little shit.
Has he been back over since?
No. But that was just yesterday, so.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did text
he
and
might be out there right now. Brandon's outside with the kids.
Hey, some say to this very day he sits outside waiting for my son to come play.
He's probably only going to come over when Brandon's out now.
He's like, your mom is mean.
Yeah. I'm like, sorry. But also, I mean, the kid's really sweet and everything, but like, he wants to talk a lot. And I don't want to talk to him. Like, talk to my kid. That's why you're here. Don't fucking talk to me.
That's my kid. Like, every other adult is like, yeah. Every adult is like, man, he's so smart. And I'm like, what you really want to say is he doesn't stop. And I know.
What you really want to say is I wish he'd be smart over there.
Yeah. Go be smart with my kid. Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
All right. Well, you want to tell me about some murder?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, do you want to hear about my case this week? Because it's a motherfucking doozy, and it's a special treat for you all because we actually ended up interviewing the person I'm covering. We interviewed his dad at CrimeCon.
Yes.
Now, I have not listened back to the audio yet, so it might be really hard to hear.
So I listened to bits and pieces of it. You can hear us, you can hear him. There is a lot of background noise that I can't get rid of. Mm-hmm. Bear with
make it work. Yeah. But you're going to get, essentially, I'm about to tell you the whole fucking story. And then we just sat down with him and we asked him to tell us, like, from his perspective, everything that's going on in his son's case. We just thought it would be a really cool way to kind of, I don't know, change up some of the content. But his name is Daniel Robinson. And so I'm going to tell you about his case. You guys might have heard about him a little bit, but obviously we need to spread awareness about his case and everything. So we thought that this would be a really unique and cool opportunity to do that. And his dad reached out to us and other podcasts at CrimeCon to help do just that. So I'm going to tell you his case and then we'll play the audio of the interview after. Again, like we just said, we apologize if the audio is not pristine condition. And then our patrons here, you guys will get to see the actual interview because we also have video footage of it too. So, special little treat. And also interviewing his dad literally like changed my whole view on everything. And all I want to do is solve this because it's going to be a missing persons case that I'm going to tell you about. And all I want to do is solve it. And I felt like my heart just fucking crushed because I absolutely love and adore my father, and since losing him and seeing this father lose his son, essentially has no idea where he's at, and just the things he was saying was reminding me of like what my dad would say or do had the tables been turned, and I literally got choked up while we were interviewing.
Yeah, he was so sweet.
Oh my God, his name is David Robinson, the sweetest man ever, so kind. So anyway, guys, I'm going to tell you this story. I'm going to tell you this case, and then I want you all to care as much as we care, and I want you all to help us fix it. We have to help fix it. Yep. We can do it. Our family can do this. Because now the Robinsons are our family.
Oh, yeah, he's ours now.
Yeah, he's ours. We're all part of the family now. Okay, so anyway, like I said, you guys might have already heard about Daniel Robinson's case. He really came out in the media a lot more when the Gabby Petito case came around because he's a black male, and obviously those cases don't get coverage as much in the media and everything like that. So
yeah,
if you recognize this, please stay tuned because I had heard it before, but after digging, I was like fucking blown away by things that I didn't know about this case. And also the family needs your help. So help.
Yes.
Listen, help. Okay, guys, I just realized that I left my fan on in the room because it's 500 degrees in here and I have COVID, so I'm probably dying. So if my whole goddamn section in the intro of this was super fuzzy whenever I talked, I'm really sorry. I had a fan pointed directly at me and blowing. So I just turned it off, and now I'm going to tell you about Daniel Robinson.
All right.
I swear to God, I know how to podcast. I swear.
Listen, sometimes. You have a fever. Low grade, hopefully.
But still a fever nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. Your brain is melting.
Oatmeal.
Or boiling.
Something.
Oatmeal.
Something's going on in there. Okay, in June of 2021, so just last year, Daniel Robinson was a 24-year-old man working as a geologist for Matrix New World Engineering in Bullseye, Arizona.
Okay.
It's very close to us. Daniel was born missing a forearm and only had one hand. However, despite this, he didn't let that limit him, and he lived life to his fullest. Side note, I had no idea he was missing a hand in all of this. I feel like that's a great thing to know for a missing person.
I didn't know that either, but you did tell me that he was missing a forearm, and I was like, was his arm just connected to his elbow?
I thought that was a very specific body part to be missing, but the articles, like, because I've read fucking 1,000 articles on this, and some of them said the forearm, including the hand.
Makes sense. It makes a lot more sense.
But I feel like you would just say missing a hand. Either way, it's not relevant. Other than for a missing persons case, I feel like that's a very relevant information to share with everybody.
Yeah, like that's definitely not him because he has two hands.
Yeah, like move on to the next. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, even though he was born missing a hand, it didn't limit him at all. He never used a prosthetic or anything, and he always threw himself into everything he loved, which included like music and football and weightlifting. And his dad actually mentioned that he liked to go hiking and basically adventuring. Like he sounded like a very fun spirit, exciting, go-get-em kind of person.
Guy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a fucking geologist.
You gotta be.
Gotta be. In Arizona, of all fucking places. It's so hot there.
No, that sounds like the worst place. But also, like, you have to go out into the desert, right, to be a geologist?
Isn't geology just like rocks and shit? You can get that shit anywhere.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but like, you're not gonna do it in a fucking city. Like, oh, this is someone's front yard.
Oh, yeah. But you could do it in like a forest.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Now, Daniel had a huge love for life and had a ton of dreams and aspirations. So, like, he wasn't like a super sad, depressed person or anything like that. Everybody said he was always fun, happy-go-lucky, You know, sure had some, like, everybody goes through rough times or rough patches or whatever, but overall he was like a happy person.
Yeah.
Daniel was originally from Columbia, South Carolina, but he had recently moved to Arizona for work. When he'd landed that job at Matrix New World, he was excited to get his, you know, to get to use his degree and everything and build a career.
Yeah.
And he had worked at the company for about a year at this point, I believe. It was like between 6 months to a year, something like that. So he was relatively new, but, you know, long enough that you feel comfortable with the job, know what you're doing, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Then on June 23rd, 2022, Daniel's father, David, received a concerned phone call from his daughter saying that Daniel's coworker had just reached out to her asking if she had seen her brother at all. Now, evidently on the morning of June 23rd, Daniel showed up to work at 9 a.m. in Bullseye, Arizona, at a job site that was out in the middle of the desert, which is located west of the White Tank Mountains, in case you live out in that area. But basically, it's this big old span of, like, random-ass desert, which is basically Arizona.
Yeah. So, yeah. As soon as you get out of, like, town.
Yeah, then you're out in the desert. Yeah, exactly. When Daniel had arrived at his job site, he met with a fellow coworker by the name of Ken, who was a pump technician for a company who partners with Matrix New World Engineering. So, or maybe he was part of that company. Either way, they were coworkers, but they had never actually met each other before. So they were new acquaintances, but technically coworkers.
Okay.
So Daniel arrives at the site, and he's driving his sky blue 2017 Jeep Renegade.
Sick.
I would say it looked more like a gray blue, but article said sky blue. Just, not that it matters, but just for your imagination. Yeah, like as you're picturing this, picture more of a gray blue. So Daniel gets out of his Jeep, and according to Ken, he was acting sort of strange and saying things that weren't really making sense. Like, do you want to go rest? And do you want to go rest in Phoenix? Which I don't know what that means. He said that also when Daniel came out, like his shoes were untied. He couldn't really remember what he was wearing, but that he just seemed kind of off and was acting kind of strange and not really like making coherent sense.
Okay.
He said that when they had arrived at the site, it was raining outside. So I think that if the weather gets bad enough, you can't work, right? Like, especially if there's lightning or something like that.
I would imagine.
Yeah, so they were just kind of hanging out, waiting for the storm to pass, and it had been about 15 minutes. And during that time, Ken says that Daniel would often look off into the distance. He seemed kind of distracted. He would go look out in the desert, like kind of wander around.
That's his job.
I guess that's true. Also, like, there's nothing else to look at, so whatever. But then also, Ken said that Daniel's eyes wouldn't dilate. So I don't know if that means that they were big or they were small, but they weren't dilating, which I thought that was interesting that he even fucking noticed. And so he thought it was maybe related to drugs or something, or even like a mental capacity issue or something, because he had never met Daniel before.
Okay.
And so he had told him, like, oh, I'm going to check on my phone real quick, or my instrument, whatever instrument it was, to see, like, what the weather's going to be. And when he had looked back up, Daniel was getting into his Jeep and driving away. And he was, like, waving at him. And Ken thought that that was really weird that he just abruptly left. Like, it's not the end of the shift. What the fuck is going on? That's really weird. But okay, I guess he's going to go do something. And so he drove away. So then Ken calls his supervisor just to let him know, like, hey, the guy that I was supposed to meet at the site here today, he showed up for like 15 minutes and he wasn't really making a lot of sense. And then he drove away. So he's not here anymore.
Yeah.
The boss man was like, okay, cool, thanks for letting me know. And then I think that's where people started to notice that he had gone missing. Then the boss tries to call Daniel and doesn't get a hold of him, can't get a hold of him. And then I think that's eventually how the sister finds out and then notifies the dad, because from when Daniel left the job site till when the dad was notified that he was missing was only 6 hours. Like, this happened at 9 o'clock in the morning also.
Yeah.
So, it's still technically his work shift. His work shift is not over, but he's not actively at work and nobody can find him. So it's really crazy how quickly everybody acts on this. They're like, boom, jumped right into it. So now Ken talks to his supervisor, right? Throughout the day, he's getting reports back from his supervisor saying that Daniel didn't show back up at the office. He's still missing, whatever. And so Ken decides to hop into his truck and start to go look for him around the desert to make sure he's okay.
And Ken is the coworker, the well worker?
Yeah, Ken is the pump technician, yeah. So Ken hops into his truck and he drives down this dirt road because this job site is, like I said, in the middle of the desert. It takes a dirt road to get there. So he drives down this dirt road, and I guess you can turn one way and head back into town, or you can turn another way and head deeper into the desert. Well, Ken says that he had noticed that there were fresh tire tracks turning into the desert, deeper into the desert. And so he then follows those tracks, thinking they're Daniel's, to go look for him.
And also destroying any tire track evidence in the process.
Just saying, that's kind of suspicious. Knowing what we know now is kind of weird. And I think the police had asked him or questioned, like, how did you know they were fresh tire tracks? And Ken says because it had rained, it had washed away all of the other tire tracks, and he could see Daniel's tire tracks very clearly. But I also am like, oh, okay, you're like a fucking, I think even David said this in the interview, like, oh, he's a tracker now or something, like.
Yeah, like you're
wow, you got a lot of skills.
Track expert.
Yeah, you got a lot of skills here, dude.
Yeah, what is this, my Cousin Vinny? And you're like, these came from a fucking 2019 Renegade.
Yeah, 2017 Jeep Renegade. Must have been sky blue.
I feel like it was more of a gray blue, though, based on the tire tracks.
But they didn't make that color that year. Exactly. But I mean, listen, if that's what his fucking story is. So Ken goes driving off into the desert looking for Daniel, so much so that he even gets up to like higher ground and stuff and gets out of his truck to look around to see if he can find him anywhere. And he doesn't see Daniel anywhere.
Okay.
So he's going like full Rambo mode, I guess, according to him.
Yeah, he's a whole ass fucking tracker.
Yeah. So he eventually gives up, and I think he goes back to his job site to work or something. Because like I said, Daniel was reported missing 6 hours into his shift, so I'm pretty sure Ken was still out there working while they were fucking notifying the police of everything.
Okay.
Obviously, as soon as David gets word from his daughter that Daniel is missing, he files a missing persons report with the police, right? He calls the police like, hey, you need to go check this out. Something's going on. So the police go and they interviewed the coworker and everything like that. And that's how they get all this information. So they do a 70-mile search of the desert, looking for any clues that can show that Daniel had come this way or anything like that he had been here, something, and they come up with nothing. 70 miles is a lot of ground to cover. Like, they got helicopters in, they had, like, whatever, not RTVs, but, like, off-road vehicles, they had fucking drones and shit. Like, evidently they pulled out all the stops somewhat. I guess there was, in the police report, it said that they had requested a helicopter search and it had been denied and they had to re-request it.
Oh, geez. Why'd it get denied?
I don't know. But then I think they eventually ended up getting air support search through Civil Air Force stuff. Like they went to a local airport and people who can fly planes were like, fuck yeah. When we fly over that area, we'll keep an eye out for him and see if we can see anything. And they were like handing out maps and shit to try to get people to help look for him. And I believe David actually helped man this. Like, it wasn't the police.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Okay, so the police search for him for 70 miles. They come up with nothing. They do a search for his OnStar system in the Jeep, which isn't OnStar. I forget what it was called, like Interstellar Link or something like that. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. They tried that device in your vehicle that'll tell you the GPS coordinates of your car and will help you if you get in a crash or whatever.
It's essentially the black box.
Yeah, but it's like a service that you would subscribe to so that they can help call the police for you if you needed to. Like you say, OnStar, call 911 or whatever. So the police do a search on that and they find out that his Jeep was equipped with it. He hadn't registered an account, but they were able to open one under his name. And the company who runs this whatever software in the car said that as long as the car has battery, you'll be able to get the coordinates of the car. But when the report came back to the police officer, the coordinates were null. So that meant that the vehicle at that time didn't have any power or that somebody else had tampered with the system.
All right.
Then on July 19th, so this is nearly a month after Daniel had gone missing, a rancher who had lived in the desert that was 2.5 miles from the job site that Daniel was last seen at, spotted Daniel's blue Jeep rolled over down a 20-foot ravine, and it had severe damage, so he obviously called the police.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that it's now a month later, and the police and his dad had searched this area, and they had never seen the car, and all of a sudden his Jeep shows up out of fucking nowhere. That seems kind of suspicious and like maybe somebody dumped the vehicle.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
the police are saying that they didn't catch it because of the rugged terrain and that it's, unforgiving terrain. It's the desert. There's ups and downs. There's hills. There's bushes and everything.
So the police think that it was there when they searched and they just missed it?
Yeah. Police are openly admitting like, oh, shit, we missed it, but it's not our fault. It's because of the rugged terrain.
My bad.
My boo. I'm not really good at searching and shit. I'm not really good at my primary job function that you had hired me to do. Oopsie.
Yeah.
But
2.5 miles?
yeah, that's like right next to where the fuck he went missing. You don't think that was scrutinized? And also, if you had Air Patrol looking for him, you would see that. And also, I've seen pictures of the Jeep. You're going to see them too on the website. But it's not like it's covered in bushes and shrubs and you can't see it. It is very clear in the middle of the fucking desert, a Jeep rolled over. And also, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Nah, I'm right on point. Daniel's clothes were laying next to the Jeep, and part of his clothing was a bright fucking orange shirt. I'm assuming it was a shirt. In the middle of the fucking desert. Like, if you're looking for something, that is like the first thing you're going to see. It's going to catch your eye instantly.
Yeah, number one.
What's this giant orange thing here? So I'm calling motherfucking bullshit. That seems dumb and stupid and like a lame-ass excuse on the police department's part. But they are saying that they don't suspect foul play or anything. They think that what happened was that Daniel was in the Jeep. He drove off into the desert, accidentally drove off the ravine. While the Jeep was rolling over, he hit his head, sustained a head injury. And then when the Jeep landed at the bottom of the ravine, which, by the way, it was like a slope. It wasn't like a straight fucking drop off. Like in the picture, it looks kind of like a slope. But when he landed at the bottom of the ravine, he kicked out the sunroof and crawled out of the sunroof. And because he had a head injury, he ripped off all of his clothing and then he just walked off into the desert. That is their theory that happened to Daniel.
He ripped off all of his clothing in a fit and then folded them nicely and put them in a pile.
They weren't folded nicely. They were chucked, but they were chucked in a pile. And now he's just walking in the desert naked. Also, I didn't see his shoes there. Along with the Jeep, they also found his wallet, his cell phone, the keys to the vehicle, and a water bottle. So, like, if he had been planning to run away or anything, he forgot his clothes, he forgot
everything,
his water. Yeah, he forgot his vehicle to help him run away.
Everything that he may have packed for a life he didn't take.
It's just left it there. Also, there has been no activity on his bank accounts. He really didn't have that much money to begin with, I guess. I mean, he's 24 fucking years old.
Yeah.
30-something. We still don't have a lot of money. But, so it didn't show that he was, like, setting up to run away. None of his actions showed that he was setting up to run away or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we feel like this is a shit theory, and so did his family. So, they end up hiring a private investigator. The PI doesn't believe that Daniel was in the Jeep when it flipped because they noted that when the airbags deployed, it was both the driver's side and the passenger side airbags. And the only way that the passenger side airbag will deploy is if there's 50 pounds or more in the passenger side. So that tells us that there's probably two people in this vehicle at the time that the airbags deployed.
Oh, shit.
They also were able to secure the black box to the Jeep. Mind you, this is the PI and David doing this, like Daniel's father or family.
Yeah.
This isn't the police department. In fact, when they found his Jeep, they didn't even treat it like a crime scene. They just flipped the Jeep over and towed it away and then gave everything over to David. Like, nothing was kept for evidence. Nothing was swabbed. Nothing was checked. Like, it was just like, oh, found his vehicle.
Like, oh, step one, we're closer.
Step one, didn't find him, but we found all of his things, and they're not treating it like a criminal case or anything like that. They're just strictly saying this is a missing persons case.
But it had been like a month at this point?
A month. They're saying it's a missing persons case. Actually, still to this day. To this day, it's still just a missing persons case. Anything that we are finding from this point forward that I'm going to tell you has basically only been uncovered because of Daniel's dad and family.
God.
Yeah, like he has created his own fucking search parties. He is bound and fucking determined to find his son because he's like, this is not like Daniel. This is not normal. He did not just walk off into the desert. This is not what something bad happened to him. And the police department is fucking him over by not helping. And the narrative is that they don't care because he's a black man, which is so fucked up.
Yeah.
And this family is so loving and they're such good people that it's frustrating to hear that the Bullseye Police Department isn't really doing much. Like, it sounds like, reading the report, it looks like they're doing things. They're doing as much as they need to do for a missing
On
persons
paper.
case. Yeah, but like, come on, bro. Use your fucking brain. This is weird.
Yeah.
This isn't normal. So at that point, I'm starting to feel like, is there a cover-up or something going on at the police department? Like, I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Also, back to the crime scene, or back to the crash scene or whatever. So they get their own PI. They get the black box of the Jeep and they recover the data from it. And they discover that after the airbags had deployed, indicating a crash, right, in the Jeep, that the Jeep was driven an additional 11 miles.
How?
Right. It also showed that the ignition was turned over or used or cycled through or whatever 26 times after the airbags deployed. Sorry, my mistake. 46 times after the airbags deployed.
Holy shit.
Showing maybe somebody tried to start the engine and it wouldn't start or something.
Yeah.
Also, I should note, because the police department didn't treat his Jeep like a crime scene, this could have been, some of these ignition cycles could have been caused or created from them starting up the Jeep to move it or anything like that. Like, it was not a secure crime scene. So we don't really know. But 46 is an awful lot.
Was it a manual or an automatic? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm sure his dad would know. Why?
Because I'm kind of thinking if it is a manual, maybe someone doesn't know how to drive it. And so then they keep stalling it, have to restart it a bunch of times. Where if Daniel was driving it, I mean, it's his daily driver or whatever, you know, you wouldn't have to start it that many times. Maybe?
That is a really good observation. Maybe. Yeah. Could be.
Because I would stall that shit.
I would too.
I'd be like, and 47th try.
I wonder if you can, like, if that's available in the reports. I probably could just look.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's keep that in our mind. Maybe we'll Google that before this episode's over so we can give the people the answers. Or maybe you can Google it while I'm reading.
Okay.
On it. Okay, so they find that the ignition had been turned over 46 times after the airbags deployed. They also discovered on the black box report that there were multiple crashes. So there was the initial crash that deployed the airbags and then an additional crash at the end, assuming when the Jeep was flung down the ravine.
Okay.
Additionally, they discovered on Daniel's Jeep that there was some red paint scraped on there. Like, something red had been involved in a crash somewhere, and it hadn't been there previously, and there was nothing red in the desert that would indicate what he had hit.
So like another car paint rubbing?
Maybe. And you should know, and you'll hear in the interview, that Ken, the coworker, drives a white truck. Because I was like, what color's that truck? I was on it. I'm going to solve this fucking problem. So it's a white truck. Also, random note, they found one of Daniel's socks near the job site, which is kind of weird. So 2.5 miles away, they found one of his socks.
Okay. 2.5 miles away. Just one sock.
Just one sock. Are you finding anything? Does it tell you?
No, not really. I found pictures of it, but it just says like, oh, the Jeep was found.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe his dad knows.
Yeah.
I'll just shoot him another email. I'll shoot him an email with that note you said, which I'm sure the PI has already considered.
Yeah.
Who do we know that doesn't know how to drive a stick? Let's lessen the pool here. So like I said, the police just gave this all over to his dad. His dad had to do all of this searching. But what the police did look into was Daniel's cell phone data. Now, Daniel's cell phone data, because they found it at the crash site, they go and check it out, and it turns out that there was no call history, there were no pictures or anything. It was just basically totally wiped, which is odd, right? Either somebody knew how to wipe it, or it wasn't like broken. Like, they were able to try to recover it, but there was just no information there. Also, in the police report, I saw that the officer tried to ping his cell phone before they had found the Jeep. They tried to ping his cell phone and like pull the records, the call records and everything. And there was no information past, literally, it was like the past 24 hours or something that he was looking at it. So it was from the moment he went missing up until that moment that the police officer was looking at it. And so it was all these missed phone calls and messages, but it doesn't tell you the content of them or anything like that. It only tells you that it was a text message or a phone call. So it'd be like if you look at your phone bill from Verizon or something, right?
Okay, yeah.
And you can see who called you, that kind of thing, looking at the phone log. So that's what they looked at, but they only could get information from the moment he had gone missing. And so this is all his friends and families trying to like reach out to him and be like, where the fuck are you?
Oh.
But then the police officer reached out to his carrier and they were able to give him 2 days data, like back 2 days data or something. And so they do find some messages. I don't know if I wrote this all down, but basically they do find messages from like him texting Ken, the coworker that he meets up with in the desert, texting him that morning at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
To be like, can't wait to meet you?
I don't know. I think the police had the text message because they got it from Ken. But also I should note that the whole police report, there's a ton of shit that's redacted. So basically all of the messages, a majority of the messages are redacted or kind of confusing or not clear or whatever. So I think, or they just don't mention that message from Ken because I'm not remembering it. So it was, but I feel like I would have remembered that because I want to know what they were texting. I'm guessing like the site they're meeting at or something. I don't fucking know. Yeah. Or maybe that's part of the job. You guys like text like a safety thing,
GPS
you know, like
coordinates.
check in with each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, he had text messages to like his boss and another lady who I'm going to tell you about, a lady friend in a little bit.
Okay.
Also, another weird thing about like his phone being basically wiped was that his family reported that around the time that he had gone missing, it seemed that recent photos from his Instagram that he had posted had been deleted. So I thought that was kind of weird. I don't know what the photos were of or how many, but that like his recent posts had been deleted. So that's kind of weird. Like, who's deleting his Instagram picture? What were in those pictures? Like, why did they have to be deleted? I have some questions. If it was him.
I wonder if Instagram has that information.
I'm sure, but I feel like the police aren't really digging into shit. I wonder if we can go in the way, way back machine and look at his Instagram profile.
What is the way, way back machine?
You don't know about this? It's a website, and you can enter in a website, and it'll show you all the different captures of certain dates. Like, it captures sites at certain times. Yeah, so you can go back in time to see like what was that site page on that day, but it only does it, I don't know what cadence it uses to know when to take a snapshot because it's not consistent at all.
Oh.
So it doesn't work for everything. I don't know if it would work for an Instagram, but
that'd be interesting.
I'd be interested, yeah, because I feel like maybe that's a clue. What's going on in those pictures? A clue. Okay, so I'm over here thinking that clearly something has happened to Daniel, meaning that someone has done something to Daniel, and that, like, I don't think he just fucking ran away to go join a monastery or something silly like that, which is what Daniel's father, David, said the police told him. Like, their theory is that he just, like, ran off to go be a monk or some shit.
Like, without telling his entire family or his sister, who he's obviously close to, his dad, who he's obviously close to.
Yeah. David describes Daniel as, like, a family man and everything. So, like, what?
Well, and becoming a monastery isn't, like, a split-second decision. That's more like, I'm going to give up my entire life.
Yeah. To go be silent somewhere.
Yeah.
And go take care of me.
Yeah. I'm going to do me.
So I think that's bullshit, and so does his family. But the police obviously are just like, that's what happened. But I think, so going off of the theory that somebody did something to him, I'm guessing somebody knew how to wipe his phone because they immediately, like, there's no data on it from the moment he went missing. So something happened to make it so that the police can't track where he was, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it got turned off or something.
Yeah.
And you know how they always say, listen, I'm not here to like pin anybody to a cross, but I'm about to. You know how they always say there's a little bit of truth in every lie? Mm-hmm. Well, the coworker had mentioned, right now I'm like all questioning the coworker because that's the only person we know for a fact was with Daniel when he went missing. So
that's the
right
last
now
person
I'm like,
to see him alive. Yeah.
I have some questions. Yeah. And so the coworker had mentioned that right before Daniel took off, he had like pulled out his phone or something to check the weather. So then I'm thinking, is that the little bit of truth in the lie? Like took Daniel's phone or something and turned it off because he knew he was going to do something bad to him? And again, they don't know each other. So, or that we know of, they don't know. According to Ken, they do not know each other.
Did Ken get drug tested or anything? Like,
no,
maybe he's not a complete psychopath, and maybe he just had, like, his pupils weren't dilating. maybe that's a little bit of truth in it, but it's about his own pupils.
Oh,
like,
maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It's so crazy to me. Like the whole thing. And maybe Ken is totally innocent, has nothing to do with this. And he really was just a good Samaritan and really can notice pupils and can track tires and all this other stuff. But like, I'm just saying, if I'm going by like, rules of operation, the easiest, grabbing the low hanging fruit, I have some questions. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And all of the circumstances point to something fucking shady.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, police aren't treating this like a missing persons. They're like, if he's a grown-ass man, if he wants to go missing, he can go missing, which fucking hate that saying. Now, his family is calling horse shit. And when they first realized that it had been 6 hours since anyone had heard from Daniel, his sister went to his apartment to see if he was there. And it really blows my mind how quickly everybody acted, because I feel like if I had gone missing for 6 hours from work, like
nobody would notice.
Yeah, I don't even think my boss
they would
call
notice,
me.
but they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't like alert fucking your parents or the authorities or anybody.
No, not while I was still actively at work.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, I'll wait to see if they come home. Maybe her phone died or something.
Exactly.
But I think also they knew he wasn't at the job site anymore because Ken had told the supervisor that he wasn't at the job site anymore.
Yeah, like he drove off. Which maybe the work would be held liable. Like, oh, if he's not here, we have to find him to make because he's on the clock or whatever. So maybe they have to track him down to be like, you are no longer here.
I was just going to say that. Maybe that's a safety protocol. Like, because you're out in the middle of nowhere and doing dangerous stuff, potentially, that, like, you have to check in or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is awesome to have because everybody acted so quickly.
Yeah,
Which then, if
sure.
that's the case, too, it seems kind of odd that if Ken did something, if he had known that that's the protocol, you'd think he wouldn't do it when somebody's going to be checking on him every 5 seconds or whatever the rules are,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's also kind of like, I'm very suspicious of Ken, obviously, because he's the last person to see Daniel alive. But at the same time, like, did he have enough time to do anything shady?
6 hours. He had 6 hours before anybody came questioning or doing anything.
Well, he had less than that because he told his boss that he wasn't there first, right?
Yeah, he's the one who mentioned that Daniel had driven off. I don't know at what time or anything like that, but he did call his boss to tell him. But he could do that to cover his tracks, too.
Yeah.
Like, after he did the deed, like, maybe he hurt him at the site or did something to him at the site.
Yeah.
Maybe something weird happened and they started, like, chasing each other. I don't fucking know.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Well, because Daniel saw his shoes weren't tied, right?
Mm-hmm. Allegedly.
Allegedly, according to Ken, Daniel's shoes weren't tied, and then one of his socks was found close to or near the job site. So maybe they got into a scuffle or something, and his shoes fucking flew off, and so did his sock.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm fucking pure speculation.
Were his shoes at the site, or were they with the Jeep?
No, I haven't heard anything about the shoes.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't know where the shoes are. So maybe he's naked walking in the desert with his shoes on.
And one sock.
And one sock. Weird, right? Maybe he's got some sweet kicks.
Very weird.
Yeah. This whole thing is a giant puzzle to me, and I'm like, I'm going to fucking solve it.
Yeah.
And also, his family, his poor family. Okay. Now, like I said, the family acted so quickly, and immediately his father knew something wasn't right, and he filed a missing persons case that same night. So everybody acted quickly. And right away, Daniel's dad was not impressed with how the police were handling his son's case. When the police found Daniel's Jeep, it took them over 24 hours to even notify David that they had found the Jeep. What?
Over.
It took a full fucking day and some change.
That's
irresponsible.
That's surprising, especially because David, the dad, was so involved with the searches and everything like that. You think that the guy in charge of the case would be like, "Hey, fucking, guess what?
Yeah. We found exciting news." Nope.
Yeah. Something. A breadcrumb.
Yeah. Nope. And I wonder, like, did they just leave the Jeep sitting there for 24 hours? Or did they immediately impound it? And so, like, his dad didn't even get to be there? Like, I'd be fucking furious.
When I looked to see if it was a manual or an automatic, I searched for Daniel Robinson Jeep. And it looks like there's, like, 2 pictures of it. Which, granted, maybe that's just what's released to the public.
Yeah.
But it seems like they didn't take a lot of pictures. Because I was thinking maybe even just looking at a picture, you'd see on the inside, see if it was manual or not. But, like...
No, that's all
did you
can
take
see.
A bunch of pictures of it before you flipped it back over? anything?
No, they were not treating it like a crime scene.
That's fucking crazy.
Yep. So, like I said, Daniel's dad was not impressed. So he decided to take matters into his own hand, and he literally moved from South Carolina to Arizona and set up shop in Arizona. And he began to organize and host desert searches for his missing son. He was basically acting as the police in his son's missing persons case. He used his own retirement funds to fund all of these things, and he actually turned up a lot of evidence and stuff in doing so, or I guess what we would call evidence, but it's not like, I don't know, like a fucking sock. But
yeah. Something relative to the case, but not necessarily detrimental.
Yeah. But because of this, Daniel's father's search team have uncovered several sets of human remains in this section of dirt. In this section of desert. Yeah, it is. One set of remains is believed to be another unsolved missing persons case, and they're really close to closing that one.
Oh my gosh.
And the police say that, like the other set, I don't really know. I think they haven't really identified, or they don't know whose they belong to.
Yeah.
But police say that so far, all of the remains don't seem to be linked or related. But I'm over here like, why are there so many dead bodies right here? Like, that's kind of weird, right? Like, we're just dumping bodies here?
It seems like a pretty small vicinity, too.
Yeah. But as an interesting side note, at CrimeCon, I had the pleasure of speaking with a real-life crime scene investigator. And this dude, I won't say his name because I didn't get permission to, he basically legit covers a giant patch of desert from like the Nevada state line to like San Bernardino or something like that. And I asked him, I was like, is it really suspicious that like you're finding a bunch of dead bodies in this patch of the desert? And he was like, no, not at all. Like the desert is littered with dead bodies. He's like, it's what I do every day. I go out and fucking basically secure a scene that somebody was dumped at. And it's very rare that they are actually related. Isn't that crazy?
Jesus. Yeah.
Isn't that fucking crazy? Anyway, so next time you're out hiking the desert, just be aware that you're fucking surrounded by a bunch of dead bodies. Fun fact.
Look around. Mm-hmm. See a scrap of fabric. Maybe a sock.
Yeah, you don't know. That's probably a crime scene. Through the dad's investigation, they also discovered that Daniel had recently been talking to a new lady friend, who I said I was going to mention, by the name of Caitlin. So I guess as a side job, Daniel would work for Instacart, and he would bring in some extra cash. And he delivered her an order of booze sometime in early June. I want to say it's like June 12th or something, but I didn't write the date down. But like, a couple weeks before he goes missing. So he meets Caitlin because he's delivering booze to her house. Caitlin and a friend answer the door, and they're drinking, obviously, and they invite Daniel in. And they introduce themselves. They all end up hanging out for a bit, and they exchange numbers. Now, in the police report, I had read that one of Daniel's friends said that Daniel had spoke to him later on, but before he had gone missing, saying that he had actually hooked up with Caitlin. I don't know if it was that night or what, but it sounds like they partook in some sexual intercourse or something.
Okay.
Or something like that, And
that's like the start of every good porn.
Exactly. Like, did somebody order some booze?
Somebody order some Mike's Hard?
I see what you did there. Now, Caitlin reports to the police that Daniel, they had met each other, right? And that Daniel had started sending her strange messages that didn't really make much sense. And that he kept stopping by her home unexpectedly when she wasn't home. And I guess Caitlin would know that he was stopping by home because she would see it on her camera, her security camera. I'm guessing it was a Ring camera or something.
Okay.
Well, when we interviewed Daniel's father, he mentioned that Caitlin only handed over texts that she wanted to share with the police, not her entire phone. So it is possible that some text messages could have been deleted or altered. Now, he didn't say that she could have deleted or altered them. I'm saying that, but he did say...
We're reading between the lines.
I'm reading between the lines, and... he did say that the police did not take Caitlin's phone. And in the police report itself, you can read that the police officer asked Caitlin to take screenshots and load it to evidence.com or something weird like that. So she does so.
Where you send all your fucking evidence.
Evidence, exactly. So she does so. And so you can read them in this police report. They're all typed out. But what's weird is there's huge gaps of time between the messages. And so... to me, if I were to guess, I would think that is very probable that messages could have been deleted, and in a way to make it sound like it follows some sort of narrative, but also it doesn't make sense, right? Like, oh man, he's not making sense. Look at him talking all this gibberish. But if she had been actually talking to him between and deleting those messages and then only leaving certain ones of his to follow some sort of narrative that she's trying to set up, that she's the good guy, whatever, then this is pretty fucking suspicious. And it honestly, pure speculation to me, seems that is a very probable explanation for these weird text messages.
Okay, yeah.
So it's really hard to get, like when you're reading articles, depending on what side the article is taking, the text messages will take a different narrative. So I read them all, and here's what I take from it. Again, you're still getting some form of bias from me because I really think that he's missing, and I think that someone has something to do with it. But basically, I'm going to paraphrase here, but basically the messages start off with Caitlyn sharing a podcast with Daniel.
Was it this one?
Nah, I wish. But I guess this podcast was about like positive thinking or something like that, like how to view the world in a better way or some shit like that.
Okay.
And so Daniel's like, hey, it was fun hanging out with you. Thanks for the podcast. I loved it. By the way, I think I left my canopy at your house. Can I come grab it? I don't know what kind of canopy this is or whatever that means. Like a fucking, like a canopy. I guess it just says like canopy.
Shade?
Like, can I?
Like a pop-up?
Yeah, maybe. But I don't know why it's at her house unless they had hung out more than once. Like, because if you're just delivering booze, you're not going to pull a pop-up out. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he says, I left it there. Can I come grab it? And he's like, I can come get it now or I can come get it later. Like, what works best for you? And then there's like no answer for a very long time. And then she says, hey, I just saw you on the camera. I'm in Flagstaff. And by long time, I mean hours to maybe even a day. I didn't write them all down. But like a long fucking time where if you're in the town or something and you're just going to swing by real quick and they don't answer, you might just swing by anyway. Like, oh, let me just see if she's fucking home. But so then she sends a message saying, hey, I'm in Flagstaff right now. I'm not home. I saw you on the camera. I'll leave it out front and you can grab it later. And he's like, cool, thanks, whatever. So now this whole narrative of like he keeps stopping by unannounced is kind of like,
seem as
he's just trying to get his fucking canopy back.
Yeah.
But then the next couple messages, again, there are day gaps in between these messages. He's like, hey, can I swing by and grab it? Like, she's like, oh, I'll leave it outside, whatever, right? Like, I'll leave it outside, you can grab it. And then she's like, hey, it's really uncool that you keep stopping by unannounced or whatever. Like,
you just told me to.
Yeah, and he's just trying to get his fucking canopy. And then he's like, he said something like, don't worry about it, I grabbed it. And she's like, I'm confused, how'd you grab it? And he's like, I just went and got it or something. So I don't know where this canopy was.
You said you left it outside.
Yeah, I don't know where this canopy was. I'm kind of confused that it might have been in the garage or something. I don't really know. But again, the messages are not clear. To me, it seems like there is some sort of context or information missing that have been deleted. And then the messages, from what I could tell, essentially go on to, it seems that he likes her and she doesn't really like him like that. And she basically says, like, hey, you're creeping me out. Stop showing up. And he's like, I'm sorry. Do you hate me? And she's like, I don't hate you. I just don't see us ever hanging out again.
Aw. Which is acceptable.
And I guess Daniel had been talking to his friends and his father saying that he really liked this Caitlyn chick. But also, like, to me, it sounds like they have hung out more than once, which is all you ever get from articles is they hung out once or something. And his friends say that he says that they hooked up. So now I'm over here wondering, what if Caitlyn has a boyfriend or something and she was trying to cover for herself and all of a sudden he goes missing and she's got to upload these, you know, whatever.
And she's kind of looking shady.
Yeah, she's looking shady, so she deletes certain information from the text messages, and, like, her boyfriend sees that Daniel's texting her, and so then she's like, oh, it's just a friend, and then when he's like, I love you, or whatever, I don't think he might have said I love you. He does say I love you, and she's like, that's so creepy, but also I'm thinking, like, I text random people I love you. Like, if you say something that makes me laugh or something, I might be like, Jesus, I fucking love you, that's funny.
Yeah.
So if you delete messages around it, it seems pretty fucking creepy that somebody just texts you I love you.
Yeah.
I don't know. So then I'm wondering, is she doing that? She deletes it to cover up for herself. Like if a boyfriend or something sees that and is mad and she's like, no, it's all him. He's coming on to me. I don't know. I'm speculating wildly, but it is a possibility.
Yeah. True. Okay.
Okay. Like I said, the context of everything, if you read it straight through, it's weird. It's uncomfortable. I could see how it could come off creepy if you read the messages straight through and if they're true and real. It feels like something's not right. But all of Daniel's friends are saying, like, he didn't seem off. He seemed a little down because his friend had come to visit him or something, and he had seemed a little down. But then when his friend had gotten there, he was like his normal self or whatever. But I feel like that's normal. Like, you're living in a new city. You don't have many friends. Shit can get lame sometimes. And then they show up and you're like, woo, everything's great again. Then on Tuesday, June 22nd, which is the day before he goes missing, and this is also discovered in the police report when they like pull back his phone data all the way to the 22nd, he sent her a message that said, quote, "The world can get better, but I have to take all the time I can or we can, whatever to name it. I'll either see you again or never see you again." And that was the last message that he sent to her. I have no fucking idea what any of that means. But again,
kind of ominous.
If you delete any previous text before that, then I could see, like, you remove context and we're like, what does that mean?
Well, but also if she said, like, hey, I don't see us being together, blah, blah, blah. And then it's basically him just being like, all right, well, if I see you, I see you.
The world can get better, but I have to take all the time I can or we can. Whatever to name it. To name what?
I mean, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is like it feels like she's deleting other things. And if they're talking about a podcast that makes you think of the world in a better way or like view life in a certain kind of way, like I wonder if they were having a deeper conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's also saying like, I really like you. And she's like, hey, I can't reciprocate that. And he's just saying like, okay, like whatever our discussions on the world, it can get better. But I have to take all the time I can or we can, whatever to name it. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't fucking know, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
And all of his friends say, like, he wasn't doing drugs or anything like that they're aware of. He wasn't known to do drugs. The only drug he would do is marijuana, and that shit makes you chill as fuck.
I mean, you might wander into the desert.
That's
not
true.
far. Before
No.
you're like, can we go back to civilization for Oreos?
I would love an Oreo. And my water. You would never leave without your water. If you were high?
Oh, fair.
Yeah, if you were high.
Thirsty.
Yeah, you would take your water anywhere. That's the only time I see you drink water. All right, so again, reading these messages linearly, it's weird. Linearly. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you got it.
And this message doesn't really make sense, but I'm kind of under the impression that maybe some things are missing.
Yeah.
But that's my personal opinion and not those reflected of Aaron's or anybody else associated with this episode of the podcast.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. So the family is asking police to change Daniel's case from a missing persons case to a criminal investigation. And all of the evidence collected has been found by David and all of the volunteers who have helped him, not the police.
Jesus.
I know. Daniel had future plans and was not suicidal, and it was very out of character for him to just leave. Also, the family's in need of financial funds. As I said, his father basically is draining his entire, like retirement account and stuff to find him. So they have a GoFundMe page, which we'll link in the show notes. And they also have a website called pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, where you can go and you can volunteer in these future searches, or you can donate money, or if you have a specialty that you're good at or something that could help, in a search for a missing persons case, whether that be graphic design or marketing or social media or something like that. And if you're willing to volunteer your time, the family is in desperate need of help and of those skills. And so you can volunteer on their website. They have forms for you to fill out. So like I said, I'll put that in the show notes again. But you guys, we have the coolest fucking family here. And I know you guys can help. So if you're able to, please volunteer.
Aww.
Also, I want to know, and you're going to hear this in the interview, but Daniel's father said that they tried to get the FBI involved because they think that the police are doing such a lame job at this. But they said that there wasn't enough evidence to suggest foul play or something. So the FBI will not get involved. And I think they're going to try again. But what the fuck? What the fuck? If this were a pretty white chick, we'd all be losing our goddamn minds.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
If this
It'd
were
be
Aaron,
front page news.
This were Aaron.
You're 1,000% right.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit. Daniel is described as a 5'8" black man weighing 165 pounds with black hair, brown eyes, missing a right forearm, including his hand. If you believe you've seen him or if you know anything surrounding his disappearance, please contact your local authorities ASAP. And to tie this all off, I wanted to highlight some points that I think are fucking fishy as hell, which I kind of already
hear
have.
'em.
But let's recap this shit like it's a goddamn PowerPoint. So, point number 1, the coworker, Ken. Weird he noted so much about Daniel and followed him into the desert. That just seems like
And
a perfect
became a doctor
excuse.
suddenly.
Yeah, like it seems like a perfect excuse for his tire tracks to be all fucking up in the crime scene and all over that desert too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking there too.
That Caitlyn chick and her text messages, I want to know if they're authentic. Like, why aren't the police taking her phone and like double checking the shit and authenticating this bullshit? Because it feels kind of weird. Like if you read something and it doesn't make sense and she's not acting weird about it, she's not being like, wait, you're not making any sense. That's weird. Instead, her messages are just like, yeah, but I just can't see us ever being together again. Like that to me seems like there's something fishy going on here and we're not getting the whole picture. So then like, what is her involvement? Is her involvement? Like what if she got caught sneaking and geeking and somehow Ken knows her or her family or something and she gives the narrative that Daniel is bothering her and this Ken guy is like, don't worry, sweetheart, I'll take care of it. You know, like that's something my brother would fucking do. Like shit.
Yeah, it could happen.
And then the police are doing a lame ass job. Are they trying to protect one of their own? Are they trying to cover something up? What's going on here? I also read in the report, again, pure fucking speculation, but in the report you can see like the dispatch logs or whatever. And in the report they also say like, okay, this unit is on the way. And then they say, scratch that, the next unit's on the way. Like what if an officer knew something was going to go down, hears that the call came in and he's like, don't worry, bro, I got this one. And then he's covering up for all of this shit and doing a shitty job. I don't know. Again, that's just pure speculation. But it feels like they're coming up with some lame ass excuses for everything they're finding. So it sort of feels like a cover up. Mm-hmm. And then the rancher. I mean, really, dude just found a Jeep on his property, but also I don't know anything about him. Like, does he have anything red that maybe his Jeep could have hit? Like, what's going on with the rancher? I just want to know.
I just want to know. I just want to have a quick talk.
Yeah, I just want to talk to him. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah.
What the hell? And he's still missing. We don't know where he's at. David, his father, is like, I know God is going to bring my son home alive. Like, I have hope that he will be found alive. And you're going to hear in the interview, he's talking about how they had plans to go on a hike and all this other stuff, and they haven't had a chance to do it. And I'm just like, I'm going to go on a hike with David. Like, we're going on a hike. This is so sad.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
Sad. I know. So guys, please throw everything you have, become an armchair detective, fucking start digging, find anything suspicious, report it to the local authorities. They have contact information on pleasehelpdaniel.com. Like, do everything you can, guys. This is fucking ridiculous. Really. Do you have drones? Go fly them over the desert. You have, obviously be careful when you're doing all this shit. If you have any information surrounding his disappearance, obviously speak up. Like, that's fucked up. This whole family is like heartbroken.
And waiting for answers.
Yeah, and whatever reason you might not be sharing the details, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Oh.
I know. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and insert the audio of the interview now. Again, please be forgiving of the sound quality. But if you would like to, I wonder, should we just publish the actual video of the interview online also, like on our website? Okay, so go ahead and listen to it, and then I'll go ahead and post just the interview section without much context. I'll post that on the website too when we publish this episode, so that if you guys are interested, you can go watch it too.
I love it.
Okay, everybody, here we are at CrimeCon Las Vegas 2022, and we're here with David Robinson. You may know of him from the news, the headlines of his son Daniel Robinson, who has gone missing in Buckeye, Arizona?
Buckeye.
Okay, so actually you reached out to us for the opportunity to speak about his case and get it out there so that we can all know a little bit more information about what's going on. So if you don't mind, we'd love to hear from your perspective. What happened?
Well, of course, on June 23rd, I got a phone call from my daughter. I was in Columbia, South Carolina at the time. My daughter was in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Got that phone call. A coworker came to her house to search for, just inquiring about my son.
Yeah.
She thought that was really strange. She decided to call me. Of course, we do our due diligence as usual. Hey, Danny, go check and see if he's at the house, and why I would make a phone call. When they begin contact with Daniel. Being that far away is a 3-hour difference. I kind of knew something was wrong based on 6 hours that they said, once I got some information, that had been over 6 hours since he's been seen, the last seen at that well site.
Yeah.
to go ahead with the well site. Daniel was a geologist. I want to make sure that you guys know that. He's a geologist.
Yeah.
He came out to Arizona and landed a job, his first job out there. And he was out there that day, matter of fact, working on a well site.
Was that his first time at that well site?
His first time at the well site.
Okay.
And so, from that point on, like I said, I knew something was wrong. Because he was with another worker there. Put in a reporter and everything like that. Took a while to get the report in. It didn't start off that way. I had to wait that 12 hours. You know how they say, hey, you got to wait 12 hours.
Now, how did you know right away? You hadn't heard from him in 6 hours, and it sounds like you were already alerted. Like, this is not normal.
Well, that's his pattern. That's not Daniel. So we have a tight-knit family.
Yeah.
And anywhere Daniel go, he like to travel, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He won't go travel in the middle of the day at work from his job.
Somebody knowing. Yeah,
and the other part is, he would tell his family,
Exactly.
I realized it's over 6 hours, so of course.
Yeah, red flags.
I knew something was wrong from that point. Like I said, you had to wait that 12 hours. It wasn't quite 12 hours yet.
That's
I had to wait
heartbreaking.
like 3 extra hours.
That feels so helpless, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very
Okay.
much so.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm concerned. Can you be concerned as well?
Yeah. So, that's just not Daniel. Daniel's not that son that would just go take off, especially in the middle of a work day.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I was told from the law enforcement, that the worker that was out there with my son, there's only one person out there with my son,
Okay.
said that Daniel pretty much, they had a little 10-minute conversation at the well site.
Yeah.
And from that point, my son waved off and never seen again.
That was it?
Now, how do we feel about the coworker who had just met him? I mean, is that immediately in my mind?
Well,
looking at
that's
him?
the first thing you have to do. Yeah, the last person that's seen somebody, you ask that question, right? Yes, right. And that's the first thing I did when I decided to go to Arizona. And the reason why I went to Arizona immediately, I did talk to the police department. They said they was going to send a helicopter out there to search my son. I found out he was out missing out in the desert.
Yeah.
Then they ended up calling back like an hour later and said, hey, no, we're not. He's a grown man. He can disappear if he wants to. Oh, yeah.
No.
So I drove.
Not my son, though.
Oh, no,
Not my son. Get that helicopter up
That's
there.
right. That's right.
No.
There's more.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Well, the point is, because of that, I had to hop in my car and drove
said,
out
"I'm
there.
gonna do it."
Oh, they're not going to look. I'm going to do it.
Hell yeah.
Right, so.
How far of a drive was that for you?
Oh, man, that was, I want to say like 30-something hours.
Oh,
Right.
dang.
Yes.
And you're just freaking out the whole time. Like, I just want to be there. I want to fix this, right?
Yes, it was a long ride. It took me, I left on the 23rd. 24th.
Uh-huh.
And I got there on 26th.
Wow.
Right, so it was a long
Just
ride.
drove straight through.
Oh, yeah.
Nerve-wracking drive.
Yeah, it was. And, while I'm driving, of course, I'm doing a whole bunch of work, driving.
Trying to call people, figure things out.
Getting in contact with the Buckeye Police Department. Also talking to co-workers and things like that. But
So were they not even looking for him?
not the job.
No.
Not the job. Only thing they did, like I said, had a worker to come there to inquire about him and see if he was at his sister's house.
Okay.
But like I said, I got on the ground. Who the first person I wanted to see?
Yeah.
There's a guy that told me my son just waved off and disappeared.
Yes.
So I had to look him in his eyes, and this guy had to tell me the same story that this officer
Telling
was
everybody
telling me.
else.
How
Right.
do you
So,
feel about him? How did you feel about that whole interaction?
I didn't have any feeling at all other than I knew that my son, that don't sound like Daniel.
That's what.
So that's what it makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
So what I read, and forgive me because I'm reading articles and stuff. So if
Right.
it's any misinformation, please let me know. But I had read that coworker had said that he was acting strange or not making sense,
Right.
and then he just took off.
Right.
But then from everything I understand from interviews through you, that wouldn't be Daniel at all. That's so out of character.
It's not Daniel. And the other part is this coworker, not coworker, he's a worker at a well, I call him
Oh
a worker.
yeah. Okay. Shoot.
But he said he was at the honest train. He got that off a 10-minute conversation. And also he said, hey, his eyes, I was checking his eyes to see if it was dilated or his eyes wasn't dilated. Like,
How did he
who
know
gave him
that?
a degree like that to look in people's eyes and all this? And he's a doctor.
Oh, I thought you were serious. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
And he's a psychologist too, saying that. So.
That's kind of a weird note.
But the
to
guy is
take.
actually just a well driller,
Yeah.
And so those things that was odd and strange to me, So as a father, so I had to look this guy. Now he had to tell me this. He told me the same as that story. Then he started changing that story. He started adding all extra little stuff.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things added to that, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I said, God damn.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
Oh no. Okay, so when I was reading the case and the story and everything and trying to figure out like what's going on, you read one article and it's pretty straightforward. And honestly, with this whole, we're gonna say Gabby Petito case,
That's right.
that's actually how I heard about your son's case, because all of the hashtags and like, hey, why aren't we talking about him? Yeah.
Missing.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's not a pretty blonde girl.
Exactly.
Right.
And so then we're not going to give our resources to that. That's bullshit. And
Right.
so, and if that's my baby, I don't care.
Yeah.
You're going to go fucking put a
right.
helicopter up there and find him.
Right. Yeah. That's what we're working for.
But reading the articles at first, it was just very generic information. A geologist out in Arizona, and he's just gone. And then you start reading more, and it got weirder. Like, oh, he was acting strange. Oh, there was a girl he was texting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That's sad.
And it was
They
just
do
like
that, right.
weird shit. And then I'm like, this doesn't feel like it adds up. And in fact, her and I were talking, and we were both like, immediately, this worker who drills wells,
Right.
I'm suspicious. He's the only one who saw him. And then his car turned up, right?
Almost 30 days later.
Like 2 miles away from where he was last
It's
seen.
about 3 miles away,
3
but it's
in that vicinity.
Yeah, almost 30 days later. That's horrible. Yeah.
Now, forgive me, because I'm just going to go off now.
Yeah.
So they found his, was it a Jeep?
Jeep Renegade.
Jeep Renegade, told you. She has a Jeep, and it's a
That's right.
blue-gray Jeep.
That's right.
I know. But it was down like a 20-foot drop.
Yeah,
But the picture
that's right.
didn't make sense to me, and I'm no detective or anything, but it almost looked like it was like just like pushed off the side. It didn't make sense that somebody would drive off right there, and the way it landed, it was almost parallel to the cliff, right? It wasn't
Right.
straight off like you
Right.
drove off. It was like this and then rolled over,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, this coworker is a little shady. I probably shouldn't be blasting people I don't know, I haven't met.
Yes.
But
Like,
the
who's this
story,
guy?
yeah, the story is suspicious.
Right.
And then the way his vehicle was found, again, I'm not a crime scene investigator, but just with eyes, I'm like, that's kind of weird. And then all of the micro data that they got from his Jeep was suspicious. Could you explain that? Because I read the article and I think I was a little confused about what they were saying.
Well, you know what? That data, we call it a black box data. The Buckeye Police Department collected that data.
Okay.
I'm going to have to put this out there first.
Yeah.
The day that the vehicle was found on July the 19th, the next day they gave the vehicle to me. The police department said, hey, you need to get the vehicle out of here. If you don't, you'll have a tow, you're going to pay storage fees. Gave the vehicle to me. Now, I had them to pull that black box data, and they also pulled that, but they kept it. They gave it to my investigator, private investigator, because they said, hey, we don't have a case, we're not investigating.
What the hell?
They
Are you
haven't done any
serious?
forensic work on the scene, haven't done anything. No forensic work at all. They gave me my son's clothes, everything was saying, everything. They said it had it marked for safekeeping on the evidence bag, meaning that after all this, they believe he had a brain injury, and he's going to come back for his things.
What?
Oh, yeah. So I still have them to this day. But that's what I'm saying, that type of data. So I had to put that out first, but the data itself, like I said, was pulled from the police department. They didn't read that data correctly. My incident reconstruction, they read it for them. There was 11 additional miles added on the vehicle after the first, he believed it was multiple crashes. After the first initial crash, airbag deployed, there was 11 miles driven on that vehicle.
And
It was
he's
cranked
only
over.
found 3 miles away from the site.
That he was last seen.
Exactly.
But something happened to deploy the airbags.
Right.
And then the vehicle traveled for 11 miles and ended up 3 miles from where he was
From where it's last seen. But
So it was
you
around that desert.
also got to remember that the rancher who found the vehicle, he used to look for his cattle. He lived out there. That's his land. He was in that area 2 to 3 days prior to the vehicle being there. It wasn't there. He said that was his testimony, but they didn't put that in the report. That's his testimony.
Who was this?
The guy who found the
So
vehicle
they
out there.
dumped it. They dumped somebody.
He believes so. Yeah.
Somebody
he believes
took
so.
him. And then they left that truck.
Right. So that is out. That is not in the report, but that's a fact. Yeah. That's it wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior.
Okay.
So that's one thing.
Okay.
The other part is from the rancher. Like I say, he the one found the vehicle, but that was on the 19th when he found that vehicle, July. The Buckeye Police Department did 2 searches. They said they did that first initial search with that almost 3 days after my son went missing, and then they did one almost about 2 or so weeks after with a simple air patrol. Real extensive search with cadaver dogs and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They haven't found that vehicle. They haven't found anything. So that tells you it wasn't out there.
Yeah.
The other part is, in my searches, I already had searches looking for my son out there.
Yeah.
We found a human skull. We found human remains.
That's another
and they haven't found it. They're the police department, and the skull was found near where the vehicle was found.
So they're not looking.
They're not really.
They're not
looking.
trying.
They're not trying.
looking hard enough.
No, they're half-assing
Right.
that shit. That's bullshit.
So you can think about all of that.
And now you.
There you go.
Yeah. And now you have helped coordinate searches for your son, and you guys,
Yeah.
I read, have covered 15 miles from where he's been missing in the desert.
Well, actually, we did 30,000 acres of
Whoa!
land. Yes. We about that. Yes. We did a whole lot. She's one of the persons that's out there. So 30,000 acres.
Now what? So when you uncover these remains, what is going through your mind? Like that's got to be a heart-dropping, terrifying moment.
It is. It's very hard. Very hard. You know, because I don't know where my son is. So we find bones and things like that. Yeah, it's scary. Imagine we find animal bones out there too. Of course.
Yeah,
it's a
of
desert.
course.
Animals eating animals, but we do find human remains out there.
And then you turn these remains over to the police department.
That's
Are they
right.
solving anything? Are they figuring anything out? You're
You
like
know,
the Rambo detective out there.
I know, right? I haven't seen crime scene tape out there on it once, and that's because I demanded it. You know, that department kept calling out things we found, animal remains.
Yeah.
And they ended up calling us one. It was very fresh bone. It scared me. It really scared me. I was scrubbing that ground really hard, thinking it possibly be my son. And because the bones still, excuse my graphics,
you
but the
have
bones
to.
were still pink and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's scary.
Why are there so many bodies out there?
I
What's
think
going on?
it's a crime scene, yes, me. I think they dump people and all kinds of stuff out
For
there.
sure.
in
And
that
the
desert,
police are
so.
like, these aren't connected? They're not
There should be. There should be.
Should be FBI investigating as well.
Right?
My son went missing in that area, so so that should be one of those things, right?
Are the FBI going to get involved, or are they involved at all?
Well, I put in, I did put in a request with the Buckeye Police Department chief. I CC'd the city manager to the mayor, you name it.
Yeah.
Make sure that he can't say he didn't receive it.
Yeah.
But in that letter, I wrote just what we talked about.
Yeah.
I
Exactly what
found
happened
human
with us.
remains out there.
Yeah.
My son went missing here. It's a crime scene area. They need to have the FBI. He said he agreed with me. Hey, we're gonna get the FBI. I'm gonna have them do a case review. They told me they was gonna do one, but when that case review came up, they didn't call my attorney. They said, hey, we want to be a part of that. They did it behind my back, and they called me and said, Mr. Robinson, the FBI said you're doing such a great job on your own. You don't need to come in.
Stop it.
That's exactly what they told
Stop
me.
it.
Exactly.
Can you get it re-reviewed?
I'm not making all this up.
I know you're not. I'm
Yeah.
pissed. Can you get it re-reviewed?
I'm sorry?
Can you get that re-reviewed by the FBI?
And I went up to the FBI, so right now I'm in the process of trying to get some of those information there. It's called a FOIA, trying to get freedom of information stuff.
Okay. Is there
helping too much?
Yeah. So they're going to penalize you for helping too much.
Right.
Is there anything that we can do or our listeners can do to help maybe pressure that? Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we started a foundation.
Can I do this?
So we do have a Daniel Robinson Foundation at this point. We just filed Wednesday of last week, so we're definitely here to try to help other families so that they don't have to go through the same thing that Mr. Robinson has gone through. I mean, we have a GoFundMe because he's doing all of this on his own. He's using his own funds. We can have people donate and help out with that.
Perfect.
We also have a form on the pleasehelpfinddaniel.com where people can fill that out and volunteer in other ways.
Perfect.
Because our searches are on pause. Let me repeat, on pause right now. There's other ways that we need help with the foundation. Anybody that has any type of skill set, we're helping. Get that off the ground and running, up and going.
that's right.
Did I miss anything?
You got it?
I got it.
Beautiful. Absolutely. So now,
And don't forget to sign that petition. If you didn't say
Right.
that already.
Yes.
You have to sign that petition
Okay.
because we have a lot of people who are interested in my son's case.
Absolutely.
That's your voice.
let's blow it up.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So will you help exchange those links with me, and I'll make sure to publish
Right.
those with these
We can do
notes
that.
of the show. So why are the searches on pause right now?
Funding is one of the bigger major parts.
How much does it cost to put on a search?
You can imagine. It's for the razors and equipment I really need. You can spend a good $6,000 a week. Just for the razors. We do have costs that comes with the flyers, you name it, the billboards, the banners, the cost of gas and travel just to go check out leads. I mean, all that in combination, things like that. So all that goes together.
Got
Just
it.
this past week, he we brought 12,000 flyers here.
Right. So we're going to get them out too.
Yes, yes. Good.
Awareness.
Well, you got a graphic designer here. Let me just solicit her
matter of
services.
fact, yeah.
She can print banners. She can print whatever you want.
But we have the PDF right there on Please Help Foundation. Also for people who,
Perfect, so
I send out flyers all the time to people in different states, but they say, hey, we can make them ourselves. The PDF is there also on the website.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, and we're from San Diego, so I honestly really want to be a part of any kind of search or help that we can.
Right.
So I'll be looking forward to that when that opens up. So I want to go back to, if you don't mind, going back into the story. I want to hear a little bit more about that data on the car. You said, so he was driving around, allegedly, for 11 miles after the airbags deployed, but you said that they suspect there was more than one crash?
Yes, for the damage on the vehicle, that's sitting down there being, he says it did a reconstruction. The damage didn't match the terrain. There was multiple crashes on that vehicle, at least two crashes. And there's red transfer paint on the bottom of the car. So on the passenger side, so nothing red in the desert. So it had a
What about that coworker? What he driving?
Well, he have a white truck. I seen him. Unless he changed trucks. When I got to Arizona, he had a white truck. So I don't know. I don't know what he have at home, but
Yeah.
You're not creeping around his house?
That's right.
If you're being respectful.
Listen, you can only be respectful for so long.
Right.
This is so scary. I mean, it's hard because anybody you come in contact with, you want them to stay comfortable enough to help aid in any kind of information.
That's right.
But also, it's hard not to be suspicious of everybody.
Well, I had to put multiple hats on. I'm a father, and also had to put an investigative hat on. But I'm on a civilian. I don't have law enforcement backing, so I can't put somebody in and interrogate them. I wish I could.
Yeah.
But
This is an Army veteran too.
Yes, I am.
can tell.
That's right.
I'd be scared as shit if you came at me asking about your son.
That's right.
I'd be like, sorry, sir, I don't know.
Yeah, I wish I could, but I don't have those wrestling powers and things like that. So I'm kind of relying on the
absolutely.
which I'm not getting. I'm not getting help from law enforcement. So
we want to help raise that awareness because that's bullshit. That is bullshit.
Have you spoken to the girl who was texting with your son?
I haven't spoken to her directly, no, but I do know about the case. Of course, my son, like I told you, me and my son, we're very close.
Yeah.
We're very oriented, family oriented, and he and I have about 2-hour conversation. So he did bring her up in the conversation, but he never was in love with her.
Yeah.
Never mentioned anything like that. So things that y'all read out there, Buckeye Police Department even said that I said as a father, which I'm fighting against right now. They lied on me. I never said my son was in love with a woman he didn't know. He didn't never say that to me, so why would I say that? So
he had an interest or a friendship at least, right?
My son had met girls in college, saying, come on, he's one of them boys. He's one of those guys, my daughters, they all went to college together. Daniel always parties, and I used to be so worried about him not making his grades, But they was like, they the book girls, they all, and he was having fun with his friends. So he's one of those guys that have a lot of friends. Involved
it wouldn't be suspicious for him to talk to a gal or talk about a gal. That's pretty normal.
He's a young man. Yeah, he's a young man, so of course he wants to talk about a lady, right?
Well, and then when I read, forgive me, but they made it sound like, oh my gosh, he was like imposing himself on her from what I read in the article.
No. And one thing was taken out of context. You got to remember those two also. The police department allowed this girl to take her own text messages and upload them up to their
so whichever ones she wanted.
So we're reading.
So it was never like they went got her phone themselves and had a warrant, got her phone and went through it and put it in there. No, she did it herself. The other part is the police department gave me the phone. I told they gave me everything. My son's phone.
Yeah.
Is wiped everything. The conversation between her and him is missing his memory card out his phone. It's missing his whole Google track and stuff. Yeah, it's all that was wiped off the phone. But they say no suspicious activity. Yeah.
Just trust us. Everything's fine.
Right. And so that's what I have to deal with.
But
stuff
they
like
got
that.
it with the data wiped, or they wiped the data.
I don't know who did it, but it's wiped. Yes, the phone was wiped. And I have the phone, but I'm getting it forensically done. I had to pay for the stuff.
Yeah,
get it forensically done to get those data back, get things back to that phone. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You are such a good dad.
Well, I think any dad any good dad would do the same thing. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. This is breaking my heart. Can you tell us a little bit about your son?
Oh man,
Sorry, I'm like getting choked up.
Yeah, he's of course, Dan was born without one hand, right, his right hand. But that never stopped him. Ever since he's the youngest of his siblings. at the time. And he challenged his siblings on everything, like from video games to you name it. You know, so he got to be the best. That's what he all did.
how
all
fun.
three of them, his siblings, they all get together and they, especially academically, they say who's the smartest. So yeah. So that's one thing. But Dane taught himself how to play the French horn. He knew how to play the trumpet. He can play,
Oh, wow.
He's very talented.
So he loves music
Play a
too,
little bit of
huh?
sports. You know, even try to lift weights. You know, and the thing is, like I said, but his intelligent level, he's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
Decided to be a geologist in in the freshman year of college. Went through college and graduated with honors. Right.
Wow.
Daniel also.
Yeah, he figured
He
it
went
out.
apart, and the thing
Okay.
was he part of his friends. He's a founder of a fraternity down there at College of Charlotte. So yeah, of course, that's what he's gonna be doing. And but you know, and he cost me a lot of money though. So, you know, we think I'm gonna say this real quick. You think when your children, well, you'll know when you get older. I'm sure y'all very young, but you know, you think it's gonna be over with when children go to
It gets
college.
where it's harder and harder and harder.
Oh, it gets more expensive. Yeah. So that's how it is. But you know, Daniel's very, like I said, friendly person. He has tons of friends. Like I said, he's an adventurous guy. He want to travel. You know, he loves. That's why he wanted to come to Arizona. First of all, he's a geologist. That's a first place for a geologist, right?
Yeah, really.
But you know, he loved nature.
Yeah.
We like to go out there hiking all the time, trying to get me to do it, but
You're like, no,
go
that's hard.
hiking and-
I don't want to.
Right.
No, thank you.
yeah, I did it. I did it in my days in Afghanistan. I ain't doing all that.
Oh,
no
you're
more.
like, I don't need
Right.
that. I don't need that.
But we got our challenge. I'll have my time. I want to challenge him. He wanted to challenge me on some of the hiking trails, but I got him.
Yeah, you
But
did.
He said
Yeah,
he
you did.
He said he can do it. We haven't got a chance to do it, but that's one of the things we're planning. And but the thing is that he's a very family-oriented young man.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah,
said,
he didn't just take off because he wanted to take off.
Oh, I tell you, one little story. Daniel, he's the type of guy who would, you know, during the COVID, people stay home. We're protecting our older relatives and things like that.
Yeah.
Daniel would travel to South Carolina just to see his grandparents. But he'll stay outside in the yard
to keep safe.
and talk to them through the glass because you don't want to pass on, something to you.
Yeah.
But that's how he tell you how his mindset is.
What kind of man he is.
What kind of
Yeah.
person he is, right? He really loves his family.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I doubt it heavily that Daniel out there somewhere and won't get in contact with his family.
Sounds like you should
On
be very
purpose,
proud
right.
of him.
Right.
Sounds like he's accomplished
Very,
a lot.
very proud.
Yeah.
He's a scientist. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah, he did real well for himself. Got his first vehicle, the vehicle, that was his first vehicle. He's
Got a
really
nice
proud of
ass
it.
vehicle.
The first one wasn't so nice.
No, the first one wasn't, He had his car, he had to fix it. But, he had to fix it every day almost just to get to work. But he was very responsible to make sure he made it.
That made him appreciate it.
Right.
That's
He's
right.
proud of this one.
Oh,
right?
good.
Because that's the first car he bought himself.
Right. He's proud of this one.
Okay, I'm going to keep jumping around because I keep remembering things. But, okay, so when they found his vehicle, they found his clothes, his phone, and his wallet?
Everything on his body, from the underwear, socks on the ground in the pile.
Why the hell would his clothes... Why would his clothes be off?
Well, this is a theory of the police department. They say, hey, he wrecked his car in that ravine. They say, good luck. Good thing is, Mr. Robinson, he didn't sustain any injuries because we didn't see no blood in the vehicle. But he had his seatbelt on because we could tell by the way it was locked. But we believe he kicked his way out the sunroof, and that's what the glass is on the ground for. He kicked his way, which that vehicle don't have a sunroof glass.
I was just thinking
He kicked his way out of there, and he got out there because he had a severe head injury, brain injury. And they'll explain, Miss Robinson,
How's he
brain
gonna have a
injury.
severe brain injury and there's no blood?
No,
I
they
guess you
said-
could rattle some things around, but
They say, hey, look,
That's not
they make you
severe,
shred
then
your clothes off. That's what they say. That's what the clothes are. They say, hey, Rangers make you want to shred your clothes off. You think you're hot, you shred your clothes off. But it's in a pile. If you shred your clothes, you're going to be slang all over the place.
yeah, you're not
But
going to neatly
it's in a pile.
Yeah.
And they believe that he just walked off naked and
what kind of...
hid under a tree somewhere and probably
Okay.
died or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Join the
Yeah.
monastery.
Oh, sure.
They did. He joined the monastery to become a monk.
They
Yeah.
did. No, I wasn't playing.
Yeah, they tell me that also. They say, hey, maybe he just want to be away from his family and join the monastery to become a
I'm
monk.
getting... Oh, yeah, I'm more pissed. Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, sure. That'll be
Great.
But I can't tell you, we run out of time? Okay. But one thing I want to tell you is with that, I had a brain injury from Afghanistan. That's why I'm retired military. I never shred my clothes off.
Yeah, you still were able to
so
wear
that really
still
bothered me. When they were telling me that, I couldn't get that in my head.
I think
so.
any sane person can hear this story and
Right.
know that it's a load of bullshit that
Right.
you're being fed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not okay.
Right.
No.
That's messed up. I'm really sorry to hear about this and about your son, and we really want to do everything we can to help.
This
We'd love
happened
to
a lot.
stay in touch.
Thank
I
you.
mean, we're a small podcast, but hopefully our audience is going to grow more and more.
Yes,
and
it will.
do-
Small but mighty.
That's
right.
right. That's right.
Small and mighty, that's right.
And we want to do everything we can. Please keep in touch. We'll keep in touch with you. Anything you guys need, you give us a shout. We will do
Yes.
everything in our power. Our listeners are the most amazing people in the world.
Yes.
And honestly, I mean,
We have a lot of keyboard warriors. So
we have a lot of keyboard warriors, and we have a lot of talent that they're willing to donate and help with. So please, let's stay in touch.
Thank
Please
you.
email the links and all of that. We'd love to get that out there.
Thank you
That's right.
so
Thank
much
you so
for
much.
your time.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are good
Thank you.
people.
Oh, no, you are too. Thank you for giving us the
Thank
opportunity.
you.
Thank you. All right.
Can I have a hug?
Yes, you can.
I literally almost started crying there. I can't even.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. God bless you.
God bless you too.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
So good to meet you.
Yes, thank you.
So to close this bitch off, if you guys are interested in seeing pictures pertaining to this case, please go to isgdpodcast.com. You can also join our Patreon there. There's a link to Patreon. For as little as $1, you get one extra episode every month. For as little as $7 and $10, you can get some other extra shit like behind-the-scenes content, basically video footage of Aaron and I trying to figure out how to fucking COVID record. Stacy sweating to death in a shed. You know, all that cool shit. All the important
It's a
shit.
struggle.
Plus, you're supporting your favorite podcast. And then please email us at isgdpodcast@gmail.com and snail mail Aaron some handwritten motherfucking letters, which we got one from Melissa from New Mexico today.
Yeah, we did.
Hell yeah. What's up, Melissa?
At P.O. Box 2764, Spring Valley, California, 91979.
Also, big shout out to fucking everybody at CrimeCon. I can't name you all off.
Yes.
And I don't want to leave anybody out. So if you know who you are, you know who you are.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. We fucking love you.
Yeah, you guys are fucking amazing. Thank you for coming by for people who did.
Yes.
And for all of our possible new listeners that we might
Welcome!
have.
Sorry, this is a COVID episode. Go back to some of the earlier ones where shit's really figured out real well.
Yeah, like 10 episodes ago, we totally had the shit in the bag.
Unlock. It's worth it. Okay, bye!
Bye! And if you're all caught up on our podcast, stay tuned for a promo from Crimes from the East.